There is a kind of stillness that isn't about stagnation, a silence that comforts, rather than caves in. It's where the world doesn't need taming, only tending. Some women find themselves here, where the hum of an untouched morning, the folds of soft laundry, the quiet ritual of a made bed, feel more sacred than applause. This is not a retreat. It is return. While the world spins faster, louder, hungrier, they choose something else. They choose softness, slower hours, rooms that remember, often questioned, rarely understood. And yet, in these interiors, in these private sanctuaries, their psychology unfolds with remarkable complexity. This is not about confinement. This is about the space within. Welcome to the quiet world of women who love staying at home, and the intricate, invisible threads that hold that love in place. There are houses, and then there are havens. Some women wake with a gratitude that feels vague but radiant. They stretch into the day not with urgency, but with the soft ache of peace. Around them, nothing demands, but everything listens. The steam from the kettle, the folded sweater on the couch, the dog curled beside untouched sunlight. No one asked them to worship this ordinary day, but they do. The world has always been louder outside the door, faster, sharper, hungrier, and so they turn inward, not with fear, but with fluency. To stay home is not a hiding for them. It's a holding of self, of space, of time curved gently. The psychology of preference is quiet. It doesn't announce itself in big moments, but in rhythms, repeated choices that whisper what the body needs before the mind can articulate. I feel more whole here. This is not about housework or gender, not about submission to some outdated ideal. This is about comfort, spacious and intentional. And for some women, home offers a consistent emotional texture that the outer world simply cannot match. You see it in the way they tend, not out of obligation but recognition. The plump pillow reshaped after sitting, the slow watering of plants whose names they remember, the pleasure in light falling across kitchen tiles they chose years ago, quietly, carefully. There is intimacy in this, not the kind that asks but the kind that listens. Home for them is not a background. It is a co-therapist, a witness, a place where their inner landscape is mirrored, safely. And yet nearly no one asks why. Why she wants another hour alone in a clean room. Why the clothesline is her favorite part of summer. Why she watches the rain like it's speaking to her. There are comforts that never get named because they seem too small to matter. But every day they matter. What happens when life does not need to be chased? When satisfaction doesn't arrive in a new chapter, but in repeating the same tender groove day after day. This is where staying home becomes less about place and more about pace. For women overwhelmed by the overstimulated world, for those whose nervous systems tangle with the constant too muchness, staying home is an act of spiritual calibration. It is the slowing down of breath, the choosing of peace again and again. But the world does not honor slowness easily, which is why this quiet joy often goes unnamed, as if it is too dull to deserve psychological study, as if the absence of ambition equals emptiness, as if stillness means nothing is happening. But so much is. Underneath, there are women who rearrange a room and feel their chest loosen. Women who time their baking with the hour the light hits the window just right. Women who feel more connected folding towels in silence than networking at any event. This doesn't mean they lack bravery, or curiosity, or spark. It means they value containment. Their energy is not scattered, it is held. Their joy is not conditional, it is ambient. Their happiness is not performative, it is private. To choose home is to choose held ground over wild guessing. It is not small living. It is specific living. One where release is found not in travel, but in texture. Not in adrenaline, but in aesthetic rhythm. Not in escape, but in anchoring. These women are often mislabeled as passive, as if movement is the only real sign of aliveness. But in the housing of silence, whole worlds grow. To love staying home is not to live a lesser version of life. For many, it's where life begins to make sense, where their nervous system hums, not drowns. where their attention rests, not fractures, where they remember themselves completely, quietly. Some people are wired for the open field, others for the quiet room. And though both are natural, only one is often celebrated. The adventurer, the spontaneous spirit, the hustler. She moves fast and breaks things. But what about the ones who move slowly and mend? What about the ones who aren't afraid of staying still? The brain is not just a thinking machine. It is a pattern-seeking organ. His favorite language is the known. The same way a song becomes more soothing with every listen. The way a familiar scent reminds someone of safety. The way routines, repeated, simple, stable, can lower the heart rate more powerfully than any praise. Home, for these women, becomes a neurological cocoon. Not because they fear the world, but because their nervous systems are calibrated for containment, for signals that repeat, for cues that stay gentle. Science has many names for this: sensory integration, executive function, predictability-based regulation. But beneath them all is one idea: familiarity heals. A known room, a known schedule, a known task with a known outcome. These are not limitations. They are medicine for the sensitive, for the intuitive, for the anxious and the empathic. The brain registers home as a zone where it can stop scanning for danger. So it stops. And in that stopping, healing begins. This is especially true for introverts. Contrary to the myth, introversion is not about shyness. It is about energy, where it flows, where it returns. While extroverts gain charge from newness and others, introverts regenerate in inward spaces. They do not shrink, they filter. And the home provides that filter, blunting the unnecessary, amplifying the meaningful. A warm mug held with two hands, a small bookshelf rearranged, a window cracked open to hear the wind talk. These become forms of emotional restoration. For others, it's not just psychology, it's neurology. Many women who love staying home carry quiet, unseen patterns: neurodivergence, auditory sensitivity, autism spectrum traits. Not official diagnoses always, but subtle ways their world hits just a little harder. Noise startles, crowds overwhelm, unpredictability fries the circuitry. And so, the familiar is not a preference. It's a lifeline. The room she controls, the light she dims, the scent she chooses. These micro-decisions create macro-level calm. While the world says, "Go try something new," her body says, "Give me space that knows me." The mind is often mistaken for something that loves novelty. But novelty wears down the body over time. What it truly loves, long-term, is the feeling of enough. For these women, enough happens more readily at home. The stimuli are known. The stakes are lower. The risks are internal, not external. This allows them to process slower, feel deeper, think longer, and, in many ways, live more fully. What bugs the world is that you can't measure this. There's no badge for folding fresh sheets, no invoice for the calm inside a single afternoon, no career column for curator of peace. But these are not less valid forms of intelligence. In fact, they reveal disciplines of emotional regulation and internal awareness that most loud systems ignore. They are highly developed, just not outwardly rewarded. And still, quietly, steadily, these women continue to know. They know why a freshly swept floor can undo an entire day's ache. Why they will always choose the soft playlist over silence, and silence over the sharp noise of anything unnecessary. They regulate not through escape, but through environment. These aren't habits. These are neurobiological needs dressed in domestic clothes. This is not small living. This is sensitively optimized living. Not less vivid, more textured. The brain loves what it knows, but the soul also loves what loves it back. And for many, home offers that reciprocity. A groundedness that sensory systems crave. A pacing their inner metronome can finally match. It is not about hiding from the world. It is about not having to flinch inside it. Guilt does not shout. It seeps. It arrives in the stillness she thought she desired, undoing it. Not with judgment, but with a question: is this enough? Because beneath her calm, something stirs. An unease too quiet to name, too familiar to ignore. She is folding towels in the afternoon light. The playlist is soft. The house is gentle. And yet, there it is again. The creeping sensation that she's wasting something. Time, potential, her chance. That dangerous little myth dressed up as ambition. This is the trap of believing that rest is earned. That presence must be justified. That joy, unless monetized or admired, isn't real. A belief inherited from decades of productivity conditioning. If you're not producing, you're disappearing. It's in the way conversation rotates around career titles. The way worth is measured by visibility. The way progress is always framed as leaving something behind. To stay is rarely painted as evolving. A woman who loves staying home learns to carry an invisible ledger. She begins tallying her days quietly. Did I do enough to enjoy this evening? Have I earned this tea, this book, this time? She lives inside a contradiction, intuitively pulled toward a life that feels good, yet socially trained to mistrust anything that feels too good. Without hustle to prove its price. Hard work is praised only when it's hard. Exhaustion earns a kind of moral credibility. Burnout, a badge. Being overwhelmed becomes a shorthand for being important. In that schema, a woman who finds joy in decorating her space, or in baking something slow, or in reading on a Tuesday morning, is suspect. The world doesn't know where to put her. If she is free, then what does that say about the rest of us? There's another layer, too. A generational whisper. Don't become too ordinary. It's subtle. The idea that the home is what women settled for before they had options. And for some, it was true. But for others, it's not settling. It's centering. Still, the echo persists. That to choose the home is to choose regression. That thriving can't happen in slippers. That growth can't happen in repetition. But she knows better, even when she doubts it. Feminism opened the door to choice. But some choices never stopped being judged. And so the modern woman often finds herself on a psychological tightrope, balancing between freedom and performance. Allowed to choose anything, but expected to explain herself constantly. She learns to couch her staying home in jokes. I'm such a grandma. Inno, I didn't get out much. I should really be doing more. Small phrases. Defense mechanisms, really, because somewhere deep down she knows how little room the world offers for contentment that isn't aspirational. Shame doesn't always feel like sadness. Sometimes it masquerades as restlessness. A need to prove, to explain, to be seen doing more than she actually wants to. So she overschedules. She posts. She buzzes. And then retreats. Back into home. The place that never asked her to perform. The tug of guilt is not always loud. It lives in the contradiction between what the body knows and what the culture rewards. It is the ache of happiness interrupted. Still, slowly, some begin to unlearn. They stop apologizing for their quiet preferences. They begin saying no without annotations. They decorate their homes not for Pinterest, but for peace. And in doing so, peel away the guilt piece by piece, until it is no longer a tug, just a thread that doesn't bind them anymore. There is a power in choosing deliberately what others assume is default. A woman who loves staying home on her own terms is not conforming. She's reauthoring. The home was once her assigned domain. Now, for many, it becomes her chosen one. Not because she had no place out there, but because she discovered something deeper remains in here. And the difference between being placed and placing oneself is everything. She begins to see that the narrative never fit her. Not because it was too big, but because it was built for someone else's shape. A blueprint of success heavy with skyscrapers, but never scaled to the rhythm of her breath. What if growth doesn't need to be upward? What if expansion could be inward, rooted, steady, cyclical? The old story taught her that stillness meant a life paused. But she knows now, stillness can mean a life sensed. Not paused, not static, just deeply present. Presence, after all, is its own kind of brilliance. But it has no title, no award, no competition. So few ever get taught that solace is enough. That joy woven from care and choice carries just as much magnitude as joy that shouts. Watch the shift in her eyes, from questioning to clarity, from what will they think to what do I feel. She doesn't need to invalidate the women chasing boardrooms. She simply realizes this is not her fuel. Her deepest self doesn't quicken in the face of strategy. It softens in the presence of radiance. Perfectly ripe peach, the creak of warm floorboards, a quiet afternoon without urgency. These are not distractions from purpose. They are her purpose. This is not the rejection of ambition. It's the redefinition of it. There's ambition in refinement, in creating a life where the nervous system is not at war, where the body is welcomed instead of overridden. There's ambition in crafting a day that needs no escape. And for some women, that is the greatest project of all. The home becomes her studio, not for products, but for presence. Each choice, each mood, each arrangement, intentional. Not a performance. Practice. She no longer decorates to impress. She designs to feel, to align, to wake in the morning and feel coherence between what surrounds her and what breathes inside her. Often, for the first time, her internal world has a place it can land. Some compare. Still, the world doesn't drop its judgments easily. Shouldn't she want more? But the truth is, she's never wanted less. She's wanted it differently. Less consumption, more connection, less proving, more peace, less striving, more sensitivity, honored, not hidden. She begins to notice other women gently rebelling too. Not loudly, just with quiet refusals. No, I don't want to fill every hour. No, I'm not interested in going just to say I went. No, I don't feel empty staying in, I feel whole. And slowly, as the false narratives get untangled, a new one emerges beneath them. Not a manifesto or a movement, just a remembering of life outside spectacle, of value outside validation, of fulfillment outside the spotlight. Turns out, she never feared freedom. She feared that her version of it wouldn't be respected. But once she respects it herself, she no longer needs permission. She no longer needs to pose. Her pace is real. Her joy is valid. Her choice is enough. Not small. Not safe, sacred. The walls are not just walls. Not to her. They hold memory, placement, a certain mood at 3 p.m. in autumn light. To someone else, it's an ordinary room. But for her, it's emotional language, spoken through choices. Every object is a sentence. Every arrangement, a stanza. This is how she communicates with herself. Without needing words, there is a kind of psychology that lives not in therapy rooms, but in living rooms, a kind that rearranges pillows when her mind feels scattered, that clears the sink when chaos creeps in, that moves furniture towards the light, because that's where she can breathe again. This is design as devotion, not for aesthetics, for alignment. They call it nesting, domestic instinct, but for many it's regulation, biological, primal, restorative. After fear, after exhaustion, after grief, the body longs not just for safety, but for softness, a space that won't demand anything from her, that sounds the same every morning, that forgives her for being overwhelmed, that holds her trauma, not with questions, but with stillness. Psychologically speaking, we all externalize our inner realities. Some dress it in noise, some in minimalism, some in color and wool and steaming cups lined against windowsills. We shape our surroundings to shape our feelings. This is not superficial. It's strategic. Studies show that order reduces cortisol. Scents tied to early memory increase oxytocin. Color affects mental clarity. Light alters mood. And she, often without realizing it, becomes the quiet architect of her own nervous system. After anxiety, she chooses emptier corners. After heartbreak, she buys thick blankets and new sheets. After a season of invisibility, she adds mirrors and fresh paint. These aren't decorations. They're emotional recalibrations. The home becomes autobiography, updated silently, one drawer at a time. Perhaps this is why she feels so at peace here. because it reflects her back to herself gently, because nothing inside this room misinterprets her intention. Nothing here needs her to be more or other. She can just be, not wife, not daughter, not professional, not performer, just her, held by a space she shaped in her own rhythm. There's a ritual to it, not grand, not loud, simple, deep, opening the windows at the same hour, dusting the baseboards on a certain day, lighting incense she loved at 16. These aren't habits. They're grief keepers, joy protectors, silent prayers to herself scattered throughout the month. In a world of unchecked speed, they bring enclosure, a boundary between anxiety and calm, between the world's volume and her own voice. For some, this devotion is misunderstood. It's just stuff. It's just decor. Why does it matter? But for her, a mug is never just a mug. It's the one her sister gave her after a bad month. It's chipped in the corner, just like she was then, but still usable, still comforting, still chosen. That's the metaphor. Always broken, cared for, whole again in a different way. She notices what others don't. The way light touches a wall, the way textures talk to each other, the way silence has its own kind of sound. She's not obsessed with making her home perfect. She's focused on making it feel honest. To walk through each room and sense, this feels like me, not the polished version, the real one, the one that cried here, healed here, grew in peace here. This is not just a preference. It's emotional architecture, built not for others to visit, but for the self to safely return to. And in that return, she is reminded the home is not an escape. It's a mirror, a microcosm, a language spoken fluently in detail, quiet, and care. Not all prayers look like folded hands. Some look like washed dishes. Some sound like the click of a lamp at night. Some feel like slipping into sheets that smell faintly of lavender and clean time. The rituals are small, but the reverence is real. In a world hungry for grandeur, she found something else, the holiness of the pause, the miracle of making the day feel soft. Not because everything was perfect, but because she noticed it. And that noticing, that conscious attending to the ordinary, that is what made it sacred. Perhaps staying home is not what it seems. Perhaps it isn't absence, but presence. Not shrinking, but grounding. Not a resignation, but a return to what's real, to what's tactile, to what exists without asking for attention, but receives it anyway. Tea cooling beside a book, a dog exhaling at her feet, sunlight woven into curtain threads. So much life in such subtle corners. Some people dream in skyscrapers, some in ocean tides. She dreams in lampshades and garden beds, in soft rugs and the shape of spoons arranged just so. Her peace is domestic, not dull, quiet, not passive, deliberate. This is not a smaller dream. It is simply one with different lighting. Psychologically, it makes sense. Gratitude doesn't grow in extremes. It grows in repetition, in learned attention, in the body remembering it is safe enough to enjoy something, for no reason other than, it is here. This is the nervous system rooted. This is the breath unhijacked. And for many women, home is the only space that allows this depth of soft focus. In it, the brain exhales, the psyche unclenches, the self, too often carved out for others, returns home to itself. She doesn't need applause for her joy. She doesn't seek validation for her peace, because something shifted. Now, she knows that every act of care is an affirmation, that every gentle routine is a rebellion against a culture of empty speed. The way she prepares the same meal each Thursday, the way she speaks aloud to no one while tidying, the way she pauses in a hallway just to feel the light brushing her face. These are not just motions. They are meditation. Even love shifts inside walls like these. Not showy, but steady. Contained in the way she moves around her partner in the kitchen. Wordless but understood. In the quiet acts of showing up. The folded laundry, the turned-down bed, the eye contact during morning coffee. Nothing flashy. Everything full. The final truth is this. Staying home never meant staying small. For some, it is the first time they've felt expansive. Because to be rooted is not to be stuck. It is to be claimed. To be held by a place that doesn't fracture them, that doesn't flatten them, that expects nothing but nearby presence. She has found that she doesn't need to keep going anywhere to begin her life. It is already here, in the warmth of a lived-in room, in the rhythm of her own steps on familiar floors, in the quiet company of herself. And this sacred ordinary is not a barrier between her and the world. It is a bridge, a soft, steady remembering that every woman is allowed to want what steadies her, that beauty is a sensory experience, that love can be lemon-scented, and meaning can begin in the smallest places, then expand inward, until the whole house breathes that knowing back to her. You are allowed to want this. You are allowed to need this. You are allowed to stay.